want worse recoil, right? Why didn't... Okay. Oh, frick. Alright, so hello gamers and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be telling you the top 10 grips in Phantom Forces. Make sure to like and subscribe in the next 5 seconds and comment down below. The best gun in the game is the Forged, and you will not get shot by the Chris Vector at 3 AM. Listen, the Forged is real and it's going to show up in your bed or something. That's, I don't know, man. So number 10, we have the Chainsaw Grip. Now the Chainsaw Grip, am I putting it as basically the worst grip in the game? Yes, but I'm not saying it's bad. It just has one particular use, which is kind of inconvenient considering outside of that one particular use, which is literally just only hip firing, it's not very great. It will make your hip fire really, really good, and in the test place, it will give you an alt aim. The problem with that is that it kind of sucks for anything that isn't hip firing, so using the alt aim is not very good, but at least it will lose that kind of annoying downside that it had before, which is basically before you couldn't aim at all with the Chainsaw Grip, which meant that super jumping was super annoying because you couldn't cancel it. I don't really recommend it too much unless you are literally only hip firing, which is what it's for. So next up at number 9, and this is still a great grip, but I'd say it's not really the best overall, and that's going to be going to the angled grip. Now the angled grip is a bit of a weird grip. It'll actually increase handling a tiny bit, but not by a ton, which is pretty good, but like doesn't increase all types of handling, just like a couple. It'll still make your equip speed a little bit slower, which is annoying, but overall pretty nice upside that not many grips in the game have. Secondly, it will make your camera recoil a little bit lower, which is pretty nice. Basically a small reduction in your recoil overall if it's camera recoil, and if it isn't, this grip is basically going to be non-existent because it doesn't really have such a massive effect on literally any other type of recoil. I'll also be bundling this with the potato grip, which is pretty overall similar. They have different effects on transitional and rotational recoil, but nobody really cares. They're pretty similar, and the potato grip I would say is slightly worse in my opinion because it has a flashlight. And you could be like, well, I like a flashlight, then use the potato grip. But if you don't like a flashlight, like most people, because I don't really see the flashlight attachment too much in this game, I'm not gonna lie, a flashlight just kind of makes your performance a little bit worse, and it just kind of, I don't know, gets in the way. So I'm not a huge fan of potato, and I'm okay with the angled grip. I'm like, wow, this is such a good secondary, dude. PB2K being a secondary is like actually a joke. This thing is actually cracked. Okay. Anyway, angled and potato are pretty good if you want, you know, a very low kill and slightly overall upgrade to your aimed recoil. Do keep in mind it doesn't make your hip fire worse, so don't really use it for hip fire. And if you want like an overall reduction, you could just use like folding grip or stubby grip, but we'll get onto those in a little bit. Dude, this gun is so cracked though. Next up, we have a little bit of a different grip that is very, very good for a few guns. That is the pistol grip. Now, the pistol grip will reduce your rotational recoil. So if you see your sights like rotating when you're shooting, put on pistol grip, it will help by so much. In the last few months, this grip has gotten some buffs, and it makes the grip pretty cracked. I don't know. If you don't really like rotational recoil, like the K-series guns maybe, pistols are really bad with rotational, but like you can't put a grip on most pistols anyway, except the ASMI, which doesn't really have any recoil to begin with, so it doesn't really matter. But if you see your sights like rotating back and forth, not your gun itself, chances are the pistol grip will be really, really good for it. I'm not saying it's going to be the best grip. I don't really use the pistol grip like ever, but it's a pretty good grip. I'm not going to lie. Wow, double headshot. So next up, we have a very, very good overall grip. What I mean by overall is basically this grip doesn't have a ton of negative effects, and it's overall great for hip fire and aim fire. Not great for aim fire. This will make your vertical rotational recoil a little bit better, which means basically if you have a gun that kicks up a lot rotational wise, it will be better, which is really not that important in most guns. But yeah, it's a nice feature, you know. It's kind of a direct upgrade in that regard, but it also makes your hip fire better by quite a bit too. It's like not as great as the chainsaw, but if you want to have something that's better for both your hip fire and your aim fire, it doesn't basically completely remove your ability to aim. And the vertical grip is overall just kind of, in my opinion, a direct upgrade because I don't really only hip fire. I like hip firing, and as you can see, hip fire's cracked with this, but I don't only hip fire. So having a grip like this when I want to use like a somewhat hip fiery gun like this, but also it gives me the ability to aim when I want to. This guy is not situationally aware at all. I just got killed and he didn't even see. The vertical is really, really good, but it doesn't really have as great of an effect. In fact, on guns like the MP7, it can actually make your recoil a little bit worse, but it really depends, and overall, it's really, really good for hip fire. Next up, we have arguably the best grip in the entire game if you like alt aim. This is the sideways grip, and this will actually lower your recoil by a significant amount. However, it will actually make your recoil lean to the side, as you can see, to the right. Now, how hard will your recoil lean? Well, it depends on your gun. On a low recoil gun, it doesn't really matter. On a high recoil gun, it's going to be awful, though. So just keep that in mind. Don't pre-buy this unless you're going to pre-buy it in in the test blaze just to see how it works on your gun and your setup, because it really depends on what barrel you're using and what actual gun you're using, what attachments you're using, like a remove stock or something could have a massive effect on how this works. However, here's the two kickers about this gun. First off, alt aim. Basically, if you press T, you get some alt aim. It's not great alt aim, but it's alt aim nonetheless, because you don't got to use a specific sight. You just can use the sideways grip and get the alt aim. So if you like alt aim of any kind, then use this, but if you want a specific alt aim, this is not really the best alt aim in the game, but like it's a decent one, you know? The other thing that makes this great is that it doesn't affect your aiming speed. Most grips in the game, basically every grip I mentioned except the angle, will make your aiming speed slower. This does not have that effect, so if you want to use a sniper rifle and get an alt aim with your sniper, it's actually a really good sniping grip. If you don't want to use skeleton grip, it does lower recoil a little bit, not that it matters on a sniper rifle. It really just depends on what you want from your sniper. If you want to be able to hit this alt aim, you know, hit T and then go more CQC mode, it is a really good option for a grip, but is it the best alt aim? No. The recoil does lean, which is annoying, but like, I don't really have a problem with it. It's a very good grip overall. Next up though, we have the Romanian grip. Now, the Romanian grip is not very good on most guns, but it's very good on slow firing, high initial kick guns, because it'll kind of remove a lot of the recoil on those guns. Guns like ECR, AKs, M14, all those guns will be really good. Some grips will work almost as well as the Romanian on certain guns, but on the guns that this is on, this is the best. The reason this isn't going to be number one, and it would be number one on quite a few guns, this is a pretty trash grip on plenty of guns as well. It does make your hipfire a bit better, but not by a ton. It doesn't even directly change any stats that would make your hipfire better. It does actually change some that will indirectly make your hipfire better, but aim fire on this is really good on guns like the AKM. It makes the AKM a lot better. AKM kind of fell off a little bit, but if you use Romanian grip, it's kind of cracked because of the accuracy. Don't tell stylists, I guess, and I don't think they're going to nerf it anytime soon, so keep using this until they nerf it, and make sure to subscribe if you're not, so when they nerf it, you can know. Number 4, we have a completely different grip that is super useful on a few guns and pretty trash on everything else, and that is the skeleton grip. If you have a semi-auto gun, a sniper rifle, anything like that, use skeleton grip. It will make your aiming better, your equipping speed faster, and yes, it does make your hipfire a little bit better, but nobody really cares. It doesn't really have a massive effect anymore. It used to. Also, I'm kind of going off right now. That guy is dead. The biggest thing about it though is that it will make your recoil a little bit worse, which is kind of annoying. You know, wow, that was a good jump shot. Of course, recoil is a big thing in this game, so you don't really want worse recoil, right? Why didn't it? Okay. Oh, frig. When a sniper shoots this fast, it doesn't really matter. It's pretty slow, you know? It's going to recenter every single time. So the recoil doesn't really matter too much. If you're using a scope on a sniper rifle, this will make your swaying speed a lot worse, which is kind of annoying. So if you don't want your scope to like sway a little bit more, you're using a pretty high zoom scope, don't use this on it, but like in general, this is an amazing grip if you're using a sniper rifle. So I do recommend it for basically every sniper in the game. Kind of want to use the K14 again, because I actually am kind of liking it right now. Okay. Okay, next up we have a very interesting grip known as the Hera CQR. Now the Hera CQR is a bit of an interesting grip because this is truly the jack of all trades grip. It will reduce every type of recoil by a tiny bit. So if you have a gun that has a lot of different types of recoil, or you don't really know which grip to use in general, then use the Hera CQR. It used to be such a bad grip and now it's kind of cracked. I'm not saying it's like the best grip in the game or anything, but it's kind of up there. It's the reason that they nerfed the G3 is because of this grip. It will make your recoil a lot lower on some guns. Not every gun in the game or anything, but like it has a pretty big effect on this gun in particular. What's the downside of this gun? Well, it makes your handling really not good. Aiming, swapping, everything like that is a lot slower, which if you don't like that, I don't really recommend it. It's pretty sluggish with this grip. If you're using any kind of heavy gun, never use this grip. It'll just not be fun. Like even this aiming speed is really not that great, you know? However, with an automatic gun, you can still fire while you're aiming in. It won't really be that bad in most scenarios, but like longer range engagements when you gotta really aim in. Also 71 and 17. I'm kind of cracked right now. This is my first game on too. If you've watched my channel, you probably know the number 2 and number 1 picks on this list, and these are the two OG grips, the folding and the stubby grip. Originally, I was on the folding grip side, and then I switched over to the stubby grip on basically all of my guns when I realized kind of what it does. First off, we have the folding grip, and the folding grip is great on guns like the G36. If you like the angled grip, use this grip because it will heavily reduce your camera recoil. So if you have a gun with high camera recoil and a lot of camera shake like the G36, it will heavily reduce your vertical recoil and even some horizontal. It will make your hipfire a bit worse, and it's not really that great on any gun that has any other types of recoil. HK416 kinda sucks with this grip, I'm not gonna lie, but it can be an absolute life changer on a lot of different guns, and it doesn't have any of the massive drawbacks to handling like the Hera does, and it can be better than the Hera in terms of recoil control on a lot of guns. Hera is really good on guns with a lot of different types of recoil. But if you just have a camera recoil gun, folding grip is going to be less downsides, probably more upsides as well. So it's really, really good. What do I gotta say, man? But then we have the number 1 grip, which is essentially the Harasuke R grip, but better. And this is the stubby grip. It smooths your overall recoil by quite a bit. If you have a good mix of like vertical, horizontal, rotational, then this is going to be really, really good. Is it gonna be the best grip in the game for like particular types of recoil? It still might be, actually, because it's still just good at everything. Why is that? Well, it just reduces overall recoil. I don't know what to tell you. If you just want a good grip and you can't decide on any of them, then this is probably gonna be the best. And you're probably wondering what the downside is. Well, you actually have a little bit more recoil while you hip fire. And that sounds pretty bad, right? But you actually get better hip fire accuracy. So you have more kick when you hip fire, but actually better accuracy. So like more recoil, less spread. It's super weird. I don't know why that's the downside, but it is. It's insane. Is this the best grip on every gun in the game? Most of them, yeah. Except like sniper rifles and like AKs, and then maybe you could still use it, but yeah. Anyways, gamers, make sure to comment your favorite grip down below. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Have a nice day.